Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I presume we are on the dot 7:30, so let's start. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us this evening for our Young Founders series. We are in our 7th edition. I'm Garrett from OSG Youth Alliance. And from your screen, you can see our OSG details for viewers that are joining us for the first time. I would recommend that you take the opportunity to take note of our social media site. And should you enjoy the session end of the day and you'd like to view our previous edition, you can go to our main website, www.osg.sg, and view them on demand. And on the right, you can add our WeChat account and mini programs to receive the latest news and update from OSG. All right, I will leave the screen for a bit more longer. Okay, right. So let's the flow of the webinar. The flow of our webinar is as follows. I would strongly recommend that anyone who have questions for Lenice during her presentation, you can post your question in the Zoom chat window. All right, if you do not know where is it, it's at the bottom corner under the chat, and you can post your questions, and please click everyone so I could able to see. But if you're paiseh, you want to send it to me privately, you can click on my name. Huh? All right. So before we go to the agenda, let me have a few minutes to introduce OSG and why we are organizing this Young Founder series. To begin, OSG Youth Alliance is a social enterprise incorporated in Singapore. We have our presence in Singapore, Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, and Hangzhou. OSG support a network of global-minded and enterprising youth in areas such as global-mindedness, resilience, and of course, entrepreneur spirit. Like many other social enterprise, under this pandemic year, OSG leveraged on the popularity of e-platforms. We started organizing e-talks, and in April, we introduced OSG Young Founders Weekly webinar, encouraging and motivating young founders to share their entrepreneur stories and to inspire more innovative, creativity, and resilience among the youth in the moment like now. And OSG core events and activities includes our OSG talk series, mentor for mentee programs, youth for challenge, learn for exposure, and some signature events that we co-organize with our partners. Okay, it's a very short introduction. I will not to delve too much on it. And should you want to know more about us, I strongly suggest you go to our social media site and add our WeChat and our mini program. Okay, right. Back to the main agenda. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Garrett Chen. I'm currently the regional rep of OSG Youth Alliance for Beijing. And together with me today, we have two expert panel, Ms. Connie Kwan, co-founder and COO of AalstChocolate, and Mr. Kiang, managing director of Urban Science. Welcome, 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 guys. And today, Young Founders series speaker, we have a very young lady, Lenice whom is actually currently awaiting admission to university, and at the same time has the time to found online fresh seafood delivery platform called the fishmonger.sg. Impressive. And I will now hand over the floor to Lenice to talk more about her journey. Over to you, Lenice.
Garrett, you need to pass the screen over.
Yeah, I'm trying to find your name. Okay, okay, Lenice, over here. Oh, okay, okay. Would you able to control it? Okay, yeah, controlling.
Garrett, I'm not able to share the screen because I'm
No.
seeing your screen. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm leaving. Can you click on the slides? You should be able to click on the slides.
No.
Oh, okay. Then why not I click it for you?
Okay, sure,
Is it
no
okay?
problem. So let's move on to the first slide where I do my introduction. Hey, so hi everyone, really glad that all of you could make it for this sharing today. So before I begin, I just wanted to share a little bit more about myself. So I'm the founder of thefishmonger.sg. And what is thefishmonger.sg? It is a platform which fishmongers can sell online at no additional cost. So I founded this business through the Global Entrepreneurship Internship Program, GIP for short, where I am now an alumni. And in fact, I just graduated with a diploma in tourism and resorts management from Ngee Polytechnic this month, and I'm currently awaiting university. So moving on to our agenda. Just a brief outline on what I will be touching on today. So let's get on with it.
Is it changing? I just click.
Not yet.
Okay, let me, okay. Is it on?
Nope, still on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Still on agenda, right? Okay.
Yep. Okay, so since young, right, how it all began was that I was a very uncertain student throughout primary school, secondary school, even polytechnic. I didn't have a direction. I wasn't certain like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a scientist or whatnot. It was really just seeing where my grades could bring me. So I think people would often think that I'm just basically very uncertain about myself because I went from JC and then suddenly I hopped over to poly. And for me, it was just really choosing a path that seemingly had future or the fun path. And for me, during that time, I chose the seemingly fun path, which is going to tourism and resorts management. My mom will always nag at me and say that, your friends, they always know what they want to do, but what about you? And as a child, you will always just brush her off, I'll eventually get to it. Why do you keep bothering me? But inside, it really nagged at me, like, why do people know what they want to do, but not me? I mean, at that point in time, I did think of it like I did have a childhood dream. There's something I wanted to do, but I was just 16. I don't think it was achievable at that point. So I went on to poly, and in pursuit of the right path, I decided to actively search for many opportunities. So in the search for the perfect job, I decided to spend my semester breaks trying out many different jobs. So Garrett will show us in the next screen what are some of the jobs that I've tried out. Yep, so as you could see, I was a baker, I was doing events, I was even working at a law consultancy firm at one point in time, just trying new things, learning new things, and growing along the way. And for me, I would say that at that point, I thought that it was a lot of luck for me to be able to get where I am, with no experience, I'm able to get these jobs. But it's more than just luck. It's about identifying opportunities and jumping on them, which I did. So in this picture at the bottom where you see me and this lady in the center, how I got this job was just basically through job portals. And I met the boss there. Her name is Eliza. And I knew that she was working for a law consultancy firm. She's a managing director there. Now at that point, marketing is the really popular path for everybody. They're just like, oh, I want to do marketing in university. It was like a trend. I wasn't sure if this was what I want. So I decided to just go for it. I asked her, are you looking for an intern? I'm keen in marketing. I come with no experience, but I am a very willing learner. And she was very nice to take me in and really took me under her wing and personally trained me. Okay, so unfortunately, right after diving into this marketing industry, I realized that it wasn't really the right fit for me, especially when I was working in this hotpot restaurant. I started off as a waitress there as well, and the young boss, he's camera shy, so he's not here, but he shared with me that he really needed someone to do his social media, and I seemed just like a young poly student who could help him. So I took on the job as well, being his social media marketing manager and eventually also managing his inventory for him. He really gave me a lot of opportunities to lead people twice my age, especially the chefs from China. Of course, it was very hard to deal with at first, having to lead people who think that you are just a mei mei, just a young little sister. That's how they see you. But he gave me many opportunities to lead them. And also, I worked with people such as Night Owl Cinematics. And for me, this story really was inspiring for me, because this guy, back to the self-discovery and inspirations. Yeah, here. So this guy, who gave me the job, he's called Garrett, and he's almost as young as I was. He's just a 25-year-old university undergraduate at NTU. He was able to balance both school and a hot pot business. So he gave me a lot of exposure to leading chefs who were twice my age. He gave me a chance to work with real-life clients and projects. And not everything is a bed of roses there. And I remember this one incident where I had to deal with this particular chef. He didn't want to listen to my idea. He's just like, I'm older than you, have more experience than you. And at that point in time, it really hurt me, and I was feeling very emotional. And I ended up crying in his office after work at 11:30 p.m. I went over to his office and told him that I don't think I can do it, and I just burst out crying. I was expecting some words of comfort, to be honest, but what he told me was very straightforward. So during crime solve anything, will the chefs listen to you? Will they just respect you just because they see you crying? No. So wipe your tears now, go home, rest. If you want something to work, you don't just think about wanting it to work and miraculously hoping for it to happen. You have to act upon it. So this seemingly harsh words was really a pivotal point for me. I took the 1-hour train ride home, thinking to myself. And by the time I reach home, I truly understand why this action speaks louder than words is so important to me. I'm not going to just sit there anymore and hope that these people are going to respect me, but instead I'm going to do something about it. And I'm going to earn their respect, and I'm going to learn along with them. So with this mindset, everything was a lot more smooth sailing for me, be it in life or in school. So moving on, I told myself that action speaks louder than words. I have a childhood dream I want to fulfill. And this childhood dream at 16 years old, I thought was so silly, was actually starting a business. So after this eventful semester break, I decided to take the first leap and join the Global Entrepreneurship Internship Program. So I was assigned to Shanghai, China. And being in China, it really felt like living in the future for me. I was seeing the city from a totally different perspective as compared to when I was just a tourist a few years ago. Staying there over an extended period of time, I learned to order in groceries, and I must say I was really, really impressed with the efficiency. Ding Dong Mai Cai is my favorite grocery ever, because they're able to deliver so efficiently, and their warehouse logistics is simply amazing. So this inspired me to work on adopting a similar model back in Singapore, and maybe even tied with my father's business at the wet market. So my father's a fishmonger since young. I've always loved helping him out. I'll work with him on the weekends, and I also go on fishing trips with him. We bond over cooking and seafood knowledge. And as the daughter of a fishmonger, I had all the necessary skills and knowledge to continue his business, although with a modern touch. So armed with determination to make this dream a reality, I made plans to visit logistics warehouses in Shanghai to learn more. But I was suddenly hit with this upsetting news that I was to return ASAP back to Singapore due to the evolving COVID situation. And ASAP actually meant 2 days. I had 2 days to get my life together, to pack my luggages and go back. I was feeling very emotional at that time also. It was cold, it was 7 degrees. I took the bus to take a last look at the Shanghai scenery. I went to get my last cup of bubble tea. It felt like a really gloomy day in general, but could this be a perfect storm? So upon return, I followed my mantra, which is action speaks louder than words. If I really wanted something, I have to work for it. So when I came back, I worked hard on building my business, which is the fishmonger.sg. I was certain I want to create a platform for people like my father. They struggle so hard in the web market. I want them to have a platform where they can sell easily with no hassle, and they don't need to pay extra to be on this platform. So I have the advantage of knowledge and skills from my dad, and it was definitely a very tough journey as a solo founder. But one thing I learned is that despite trying out so many different jobs that I felt did not fit me, all these experiences came flowing back to me and really helped me in my journey as a solo founder. So you can see on the picture on the left, this post was done by Eliza. So she was my boss at the law consultancy firm. So she's the one who told me that, hey, this sounds like a really great business idea. No, I'm not too sure if it will work, but let me know when you get it up and going. And she was very happy to share with her friends, her family about my business and my first promotion. And on the right, I could start doing my own marketing posts. Then I tried different styles from illustrations to like big red words that attracts people. So all these were what I learned from the hotpot restaurant, different styles of marketing to attract different groups of customers. The key challenges, I think, would be, first of all, in this journey, facing my parents' disapproval. I'm the only daughter, and they're just like, you should just go study in university. Why do you want to work in the market? First of all, it's long hours. You don't want to be, when you're older, old and cranky like me, and then your fingers, it's like neng. You don't want it to be, rough and hard in the future. So this was definitely one disapproval I faced from my parents, the choice between university or doing what I want. And of course, the rising conflicts, which is like the traditional versus the modern way of doing business. So for my dad, he would be like, oh, all these wet plastics are fine, or you don't need to give customers so much information. It's really just a clash versus the modern way where I did market research at the market literally, where I learned that people are willing to pay a premium which can be twice the price just for, clean packaging, putting them in ice boxes, giving them a nice text like, oh, hi, I'll be delivering to you in 15 minutes. People like this kind of like personalized touch. And another key challenge would be lack of resources and knowledge. I definitely have learned something from my dad, like cutting, sewing, but it wasn't enough. I was ambitious to a certain extent that I wanted to be able to offer my customers more. I wanted to give them content. So I did a lot of reading. I bought and borrowed books. You can see it's a pile of books that's just like half of what I have. So that was where I gained additional knowledge for my business so I can share this with my customers. And obviously, the toughest part will be going solo and having to deal with my internal conflicts. So the reason why I went solo was because I started this business as part of a startup challenge. I didn't really have friends who knew of who were in a similar industry who could help in this area. So I decided to dive into it alone first, and along with my dad and our external friends who was working in the market, I decided to just take the jump and go for it. And internal conflicts wise, of course, I was also thinking about what my parents said. Why don't you just want to focus on uni? Are you trying to do this? And the worst part was that I don't have a driving license. How am I going to deliver all these goods? So these were some of the key challenges I faced. In moving on to what I learned from this entire journey. So in the last few months, it really was an eye-opening time for me. First of all, I realized that we cannot just rely on luck. We really have to look closely around us, and we see that opportunities are everywhere. I didn't get into GIP by chance. I had to show the teachers that, I'm worthy of being part of this program. You have to show them via your business, why do they think you're a potential candidate? And then they see this potential in you, where they allow you to join this program and further build on your own potential. So don't just think that, I'm lucky to join the GIP and you just stop there. You have to go beyond that and find more opportunities beyond. And secondly will be to remember what you learn from your bosses. Every learning opportunity, be it as a waitress, a waiter, it teaches you a lot. So I went to Eliza with no marketing skills at all. Photoshop was like a basic requirement for her interns which she hired. I have no idea how to use Photoshop, but she was very patient with me. She set up a guide for me. She sat down with me to teach me privately, and that was very nice of her. And you really have to remember all these things. Like even just working as a waitress, there are social skills that you learn. So by speaking to the customers, you know how to talk to them tactfully. And that is how I can use this in my business and how I communicate with my customers. I ask them, how's things going, how are the fishes? So really remember what you learn and remember your bosses. And thirdly will be that you are not alone. As a solo founder, there were times that I definitely thought that, I'm just doing this alone. It's so hard and I'm struggling by myself. But that's not true. We are not alone. We can seek help from our friends and mentors. I have mentors from all walks of life, be it mentors from my own age, from OSG, or even from the school. So what the mentors share, they really give very good insights based on what they have, learned in the last 30, 40 years. So sometimes the things you hear might not be all nice and rosy. Like sometimes we're just looking for some form of assurance, but that's not what they will always give us. They give us like real hard truths that we really have to take in and then improve upon ourselves from there. And this brings me to my next point, which is that it's up to us to see an event positively or negatively. So we just see as a gloomy storm when you're hit with something hard, or we see it as the perfect storm for you to take the first step. Do not be afraid of failures, because we are all learning every day, and you have not failed. You have simply found 1,000 ways, that don't work. So let's move on and achieve greater things. And of course, my mantra, which is action speaks louder than words. We should really worry less and just do it. Don't just think of doing it or you'll end up as this missed opportunity. No, I don't know how to code a website, but that did not stop me from starting my website. I simply went for the easy route, which is using a Wix website builder. And from there, now I'm trying to take up some coding courses to learn how I can code my own website. So don't be afraid and wanting everything to be so perfect. Just go with it, and then you can slowly make the changes along the way. And of course, most importantly, you have to believe in yourself. So it really makes a world of a difference when you believe in what you are doing. It does not matter if people around you feel that it will not work, it will not work. You believe in yourself, you go for it, you try it, and whether it works or not, it's still a learning experience for you. And that's it for my sharing. I hope that it was insightful for all of you, and I hope that you will start taking the first step and eventually be able to share your own little venture here on OSG as well. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can post them on my WeChat or like follow my socials and contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenice. That is really a very inspiring sharing. I will just leave Lenice's contact here a bit more longer. For those who need to reach out to Lenice, you can add her on the WeChat and visit her social media site, and of course the main website. But for those who want to reach out later on, you can approach us, OSG. All right, we can do a tie-up. Okay, so thanks, Lenice. So we come to the next part of our segment, which is the Q&A. And maybe I wanted to start off by asking Lenice the first question. And this question is, I would say during the presentation, you mentioned something like a gloomy day or a perfect storm. I think it relates very relevant to us as entrepreneurs. I mean, every single day, every single time we try to make decisions and we try to be on top of things. But most of the time when we started out, it isn't this case. The things that we test fails, disappoint, we fell into a pit black hole where we can't come out. And having gone through all these and what you have achieved, you get the website up, you have learned a lot of skills. Is it still a gloomy day for you? Or is it slightly a semi-perfect storm coming up?
For now, I would say it's a semi-perfect storm because things are going relatively well, but it really started off as a gloomy day. Literally, the weather was terrible. I had negative thoughts, but having to come back on such short notice, along with this COVID situation that was very unexpected for all of us, it turned out to be a perfect storm because it was the exact perfect situation for me to actually step in and do this business. With this COVID-19 situation, I had the opportunity to quickly reach out to customers and sell. So from there, I can slowly introduce new features, slowly build up upon my business and myself as an entrepreneur. So I would say that it was definitely a perfect storm for me to begin this business.
In fact, I think you're riding onto the storm.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. After my question, next up, let me flash my screen. So, okay. We can invite our expert panel, Miss Connie Kwan, to ask Lenice on her first questions.
Hi, Lenice. What a wonderful story. And it's really nice to see that you have leveraged what you have gained from your family since young, your family business since young, and your education and the exposure that you even learned in a short time in China. And it's definitely very inspiring. And I want to also want to praise you for you have actually enhanced the website by putting a lot of application picture to actually attracting a lot more buying. And when you was talking about the conflict, it's not really conflict to me. You are really innovating the tradition. So my question now to you is that tell me, is this business your long-term vision or a short-term action? Okay, you have said that at 15 years old, you have a dream, but you were not very sure. And now this is a perfect storm. So my question is to the deeper part. Is this a long-term vision or will be just a short-term action or a stepping stone?
I think this particular business itself is very much still a stepping stone for me because it is run on a very small scale. Like for you, you will see that, this website seems like it's bringing thousands of customers a day, but that's not the truth, of course. But that's what you want to portray to everybody. You want to show it very professionally, but this is still a very small business. My vision eventually would be able to expand to different regions in Singapore, North, South, East, West, Central, and be able to offer the entire wet market selection, not just fishes to my consumers. So for now, I'm starting with fishes to try out this concept, and also like to try working with potential merchants and settling the packing and logistics. And of course, I want to gather feedback from my customers as well before I move on to building the platform of my dreams, which is the one North, South, East, West, and bringing the entire wet market scene online.
Okay, then I hope you will be try to realize as a long-term vision rather than a stepping stone, because you do have great talents and experience to start with.
Thank you, Connie.
Thanks, Connie,
Okay,
for the questions. All right, I would like to invite Kiang. Would you have any question for Lenice, Kiang?
Yes, hi. Thanks, Garrett, and thanks, Lenice, for a great presentation. Coming from a more of a strategy consulting background, my question will be maybe looking at your rational, the way you look at your business from a very rational perspective, right? So you obviously have had some idea in mind when you started, and then I gather from your presentation that you've been doing this probably just for a couple of months, right? Perhaps I think it'd be interesting to the audience if you can walk us through how you have already pivoted your business, right? Let me explain a little bit more what I mean, right? So I'm not an entrepreneur. I've not really started a company, but I have advised entrepreneurs, and I think a very common feature is once you write out a business plan, your very first business plan, you probably should tear it away because it's, I'm told that it's already aged and no longer valid, right? And by the time you go 6 months into the business, your business plan has gone through multiple iterations, right? So if you could share with us, for example, a bit of this evolution. I know we don't have a lot of time, but what was your original assumptions? What were some of your original thought that were challenged when you actually went to market, when you actually went to talk to your customers? Thank you.
Okay, so it was definitely a very mad rush for me to start this business, because when I first had it conceptualized and I was going back to Singapore, it was just on paper. But I felt that 危机就是时机, and this COVID-19 was something that would really help me boost my business. So I really, to be honest, just rushed into it. So along the way, there were things that I thought of like idealistically, like, oh, I want to do this and that. And one of them was that I saw that all my competitors had styrofoam boxes for delivery. And I was just like, I must have it too. So styrofoam boxes do not come cheap when you're buying only like 10 to 20. It costs like $3 to even $5 for those boxes. And for my first 10 deliveries, I delivered via these boxes. And weirdly, the customers were like, oh, do you mind taking these boxes away? It turned out that they didn't want them. I was wasting these $5, which could have been put to better use. So I decided to get rid of these boxes, and I just used one insulation box for my delivery. So I ended up going to my customer's house, and then I fished the items out from them from the box. So it was like Hai Di Lao Zhen in front of them. I took out the fresh seafood. Oh, here's your crayfish. Here's your this. So they can check the items and they feel like, oh wow, it feels very fresh for them seeing me dig all these items from under the ice. So this was one of the things I learned. And another one was marketing. like when I ran a small retail business in my poly days, I was just selling earrings and stuff. How I marketed was via Facebook marketing, which I thought was the most simple way to do it. But I think when it comes to seafood and delivery, this might not be the best avenue to do so. I had many click-ins, but the conversion rate was quite low, and it was definitely not worth it to do it this way. So I figured that referral was really the best way to do this. Looking at my own competitors, how they really pushed it through was using influencers and whatnots, but I don't have connections or even the money to pay these influencers. So I really focused on sharing benefits to my customers, such as during their delivery, I will tell them that, I hope you really enjoy your fishes. I've prepared it this way and that way. And if you have any issues, you can drop me a text at my number. And of course, please drop me a review and you get a free golden pomfret on your next order. Then they'll be like, oh, wow, okay, that's amazing. And then they will drop me a review on my Facebook or even share their stories on Instagram. And from there, I've actually had 3 cases of repeat customers where they introduced to their aunties, their uncles, or even they bought again. So I thought that, this is a literally free and a very good method to do this. Yeah, so these are just 2 examples.
Great, thank you. I think those are really good examples. Before I heard your talk, my initial thought would be you're trying to bring the very fishy business to maybe younger people, right? I do go to the wet market to buy fish, but I don't see a lot of young people to buy fish. Maybe can you comment a little bit about, have you looked at maybe targeting, people who are of your age, who may not have the experience buying fish because their parents have been buying fish for them, right? And what is it like thinking through their minds, right? I don't see a lot of young people stepping into the wet market anymore. If they buy, they probably end up in air-conditioned NTUC, for example, right? Maybe you can comment on that as well?
Sure. So from my market research, literally at the wet market, I realized that there are many young people in their 20s and 30s who do not enjoy going to the wet market. And some of the key reasons would be that, as you mentioned, they do not like the wet and dirty environment. They prefer some air-conditioned NTUC, which is brighter and cleaner. And there are also people who do not know how to prepare a fish, like the gutting, the cutting, or the fillet. They don't know what is a suitable way to prepare this fish. So they just skip past buying complicated seafood. Perhaps stingray they see is very foreign to them. So they just buy salmon fillets and cod fillets, which is very common for them. So these are just some of the ones which are on the top of my head. But by knowing the above, right, I can come up with a solution for their pain point. So this is why I introduced vacuum packing to my business. Now I offer them vacuum pack where it's very nice and clean, but I'm trying to change that as well now. So vacuum packing, first of all, is very expensive. And secondly, if you are buying the fish and eating it today, you will just cut into it immediately, as consumers, you are paying for this vacuum packaging, which is a waste of your money if you're just going to cut into it immediately. So I'm actually thinking of coming up with a campaign where I say, recommend them to use regular plastic instead and give them a discount for it. So this is something I'm working on and hoping to launch next week. But apart from that, I also offer these younger consumers, a personalized service. So I got a separate phone number and they can contact me to learn more about what sort of fish is suitable for their needs. For babies, if they want a cod fish, there's so many parts to cod. If they want the fillet, there are fillets with bones and those without. So I give them the proper recommendation. You get the tail end where there's no bones. It's perfect for your babies. I also came up with these easy to follow recipes, which I'm still developing along with a friend, and content such as my Know Your Fish articles. So they know the suitable cooking styles and the taste profile of different seafood. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Wow. Having listened to it, I think Lenice has something brewing really good in this fishmonger.sg. So moving on, Connie, would you have
my second question to Lenice? Very interesting, Lenice. And how are you going to continue this journey? Because you need to balance your studies and also your internal conflict. So, okay, maybe the internal conflict to me is not that big problem, but let's talk about the real work, because you'll be explaining so much time and you have so much activities. You're going to burn you out soon. So please let me know, how are you going to continue your journey?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, one of the first challenges I mentioned was that my parents disapproved of me doing this because they want me to just fully focus on my uni studies. That was one of the things I really thought about for very long, because it's terrible to say that I went into polytechnic with the mindset that, you know, I can just get out and work immediately with this diploma. But thankfully along the way, I have teachers and friends who told me that, you know, diploma is not the end. You know, there's deeper things, more useful things that can come from university. And seeing Garrett, who is the hotpot business founder himself, he's trying to cope with both. And he's told me that he's able to apply modules such as, you know, statistics to put into his business to calculate the probability of, like, you know, he estimates like how many customers will order this and that. I think it's very useful. Like what you learn in university is not going to be an easy journey. You know, university is hard wherever you are, but by going through it, you are able to come up with more knowledge and be able to build this business even more. So if I'm going to stop with a diploma, you know, of course I can still continue running this business, but it will take me a very long time to get to where I am because I will still lack resources, lack knowledge. But if I go to university, you can make more connections there. And of course, you learn things that are more relevant, more new. You know what's coming, you know what you can use. So that's how I plan to, you know, balance these two. And for me, I'm doing personal delivery now to collect feedback. But obviously, this has to change in the next 2 months because I will be matriculating in August. I can't be doing deliveries myself. I can't drive. I don't have the time to drive and deliver anymore. So I will have to try out third-party delivery options. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Garrett.
Looks like sounds like Lenice have everything planned out.
I mean, it's a very nice plan, you know, I have, but as I mentioned, things might not always go my way. So these are plans, but it can change. Yeah.
I believe you can write it out the song, like what you did previously. Okay. Lenice, are you ready to take questions from the floor?
Yep.
If you are ready, let me choose the first question that is asked by Bernard. So Bernard wanted to ask, how long do you see yourself in the fishmongering business?
At least
or rather, would you have plans to include, verticals industry, something else in the future once you get this sorted out, the logistic or the marketing? So is there an expansion or maybe the type of goods that you're offering?
Of course, I definitely have expansion plans for this business, but I'm still at the very start. Like, this is only my 3 months journey. You know, it might seem like it's going very well, but of course I've had bumps, you know, that I've met along the way that I struggled to get through. So expansion plans are there, but we have to go through this slowly. Logistics wise, when I first thought of like, you know, I can't drive, I can't deliver. As for now, my parents could drive me, you know, I could get my friends, you know, I pay them a bit and then they drive me to do the delivery. This is a temporary solution. I once thought of, you know, why not I start my own logistics company to solve my own issue. But then I thought, not very practical now, because I don't have the driving license and I don't really have enough time to go think this through. Like, I have to put this business on hold and then start a logistics firm and then go back into this business again. But definitely I would love to go beyond this. So as I mentioned, now it's selling fishes and seafood. Beyond that, I want it to go into the entire wet market selection online. And perhaps this model can even be used for like other items such as retail as well. Because for now, this is my family's business. So I'm very focused on just thinking about fresh seafood, fresh fishes. Haven't really gone beyond that yet. But this sort of model where you are tapping on people's like existing existing resources you have, like these fishes, you know, they are very expensive to buy. I don't need to rent a warehouse and store them somewhere with my own money, you know, spend a few thousands. I don't need to, because these fish markets are available, these fishmongers are available. I can get these goods from them. Now I'm just paying them the market price and then I upsell it. So there's no loss on my end in that sense. So I think this can apply to many other things as well. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. And Bernard would like to ask the second question. how are you planning to work off challenges from e-commerce? I mean, e-commerce company in taking over your business model. I mean, for them, I mean, in a way, let me rephrase it from Bernard. Question is that for the e-commerce company to incorporate fresh food delivery for them is just quite easy. So how do you intend to stay, relevant in the market and differentiate yourself from the big boys?
I think like e-commerce companies don't scare me as much as those bosses in the fishery port themselves, because many of these online businesses actually come from the fishery ports. Like some big names like J, Lian Huat, Naya Seafood, they do direct from the fishery port. And you know, the fishery port is just a very big family of connections. For like those fishes you see on Shopee or whatnot, they just come from individual fishmongers rather than these fishery ports. So it's still hard to a certain extent to maintain the freshness and keep the prices low enough. So I wouldn't say I'm really worrying about fighting with the e-commerce people, but more of with the fishery port people, because they are earning like double the profits. So from the fishery port to the market, they are selling from a profit already. And because it's online delivery, they up the price even more. So they are earning 2 times. So they are the more scary ones. But instead of fearing them, I think learning from them is better. So initially when I follow all their, you know, Facebook and Instagram channels, I'll get a little bit jealous, like, why I have thought of doing this, but they've done it faster than me, you know, because they have the resources. Then I feel very upset that, oh, you know, I'm so sad I can't do this. But then I thought that, you know, they're giving me more ideas on what I can improve on for my business. So when they do like short little articles on like content for fishes and seafood, then I decided to hop into it too. And then when they post things they cook, then that's what I did also. And that's what people like, you know, they're ahead of the game and they've shown me the path and I'm just following that path, which I think is great. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time I think the best mentor might be your close competitor.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next question from Chong Ming. Chong Ming actually asked a very interesting question. What actually motivates you to be an entrepreneur? And why not going into being a professional in MNC?
I think like for students like on a poly level, why you want to start a business, like mostly it's when you want to earn some pocket money. You know, that was why in year 2 I started this small earring business. I bought from AliExpress, I resold them, just a little bit of pocket money. But then as I learn all the way until year 3 and I hear from people, you know, entrepreneurship is not really just about earning money or profiting. For me, through Shanghai, China, I found out like that I wanted to do something to help my dad. You know, he has a very hard time in the market. He wants to earn more for us. He needs to do deliveries, but it's very tough on him. You know, after work, he has to deliver north, south, east, west, and he comes home very late. It's very tiring for him. So that's why I wanted to come up with something that can help him and fishmongers in general. It started off as a very like selfish idea in a sense that I only wanted to help my dad's business. I was just like, I want to bring his market store online. But then my mentor was just like, why do you only want to bring one when you can bring all? And he gave me the idea that, yeah, why not? I can help all these people bring their items online. They don't need to pay me a single cent because I'm already up pricing it and selling it to other people. So you're helping a big group of people, like rather than just in a sense starting a small online business you want to handle on your own. So this is more of something like, it started off with me wanting to help my dad, and it turned out that I can help more than just my dad. It is all the friends he's working with, all his like buddies, all his fishmongers.
Interesting question. Talking about working with your parents, Cindy asked a very relevant question. She asked, how is your experience working with your parents and the other fishmonger that are really much older than you? Is there a generation gap in, you know, telling them your business model, how to do it, you know, what are their experience like?
Definitely there have been unpleasant experiences, because for my dad, he in the market he's just like whatever they want, chop and go. for people in the market, like elderly aunties, they are not very picky when it comes to how the fish is prepared. There can be a few skills left, you know, a little bit of pin bones, and then they'll go home and clear out themselves. But when it comes to online services, you know, they're paying a premium, so people expect a premium as well. So I have to carefully always remind him, please ensure that the fishes are skilled nicely, or I have to go through and check it myself or do it myself, you know, checking through the pin bones, ensuring that, you know, all customers' needs are met. Like they will like have some funny request, like just a small piece of fish, they want to cut it into like almost you can't see it, but you know, this is what the customer wants, so let's just follow it. So in this area, definitely argue with my dad a bit, especially when there was a situation where this customer ordered silver pomfrets and then my dad didn't have it and he just substituted it with Chinese pomfrets. Then I've already delivered it. Then he told me in the car, oh, you know, I didn't have this fish earlier, so I changed it to this. And it's just that I was angry, definitely. But what he said was like, oh, no, these fishes are more expensive than the one she ordered. And I was just like, yes, but if you had told me earlier, you know, I could have told it to the customer in a way like, oh, it's an upgrade for you. And then the customer will feel happy. You know, like, wow, I got a premium fish. Rather than like, hey, how come I order this one? I get this unknown fish. So we agreed that, okay, I can't fault him for it because I never really gave any guidelines on what a merchant can or cannot do. But from here, if there's any issue, I hope that he would go through me first before I decide on whether to proceed with it. Like I could decide that, you know, I'll cancel this particular item of the customer's order, or I will do the substitution. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, moving on. Ken would like to ask, we are going to the uni soon. How do you plan to, sustain your business, keep it running, plans to dive deeper, or even cast your net beyond the shores of Singapore? Do you have plans like this? While you're still pursuing uni?
I think outside of Singapore might be a little hard now. Should look on expanding towards the entire of Singapore first. How I want to expand this is definitely I hope to meet people in university, be it professors or friends who might be keen to join me in this venture. You know, we build this up together, hear from their feedback, get the necessary resources and funding or whatnot. Because as of now, I'm using my own funding, which I think is okay for now. I have not made any losses. It's been profits, which is nice. But when it comes to business expansion plans, I definitely have great dreams. Like I want it to be like a Grab app, you know, you open up my fishmonger app or website one day and then you'll be like, oh, because you're in the Jurong area, you can only see these like fishmonger stores around you. As for now, what I'm doing is delivering in the West only. But when customers make an order all the way in the East, I still LL, you know, I drive all the way there. But I'm thinking that, you know, I cannot always do this because of my lack of delivery partners as of now. So in university, I definitely hope to meet more like-minded people or even the right people who can help me in this journey. Yep.
I first wish you all the best in meeting that resources or that somebody.
Thanks, Garrett.
Okay. Right. I have Billy would like to.
I raised my hand. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. Great. Yeah, can you hear me, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just to be. Yeah, I should turn on my camera also. To be. Can see me also, huh? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very personal question and business as well, because my dad's been in the fishmongering business actually for the longest time, and in our heydays, my family actually had 17 ice trucks running around Singapore. I believe most of you in the same generation as me, you probably have eaten fish from my father's company before as well. Okay, and NTUC came in subsequently. I mean, NTUC Cold Storage, back then there was Jason Supermarket, the Japanese, I can't remember the Japanese supermarket. A lot of their seafood were actually from my family. Okay, but NTUC came in and monopolized because they had the economies of scale and so on. And subsequently, my family did go out of business. Okay, but anyway, so with all this, there's actually two parts to my question. First is to ask what how do I put it? Because the truth is Singapore is a very small market, okay? And somebody actually asked a similar question about e-commerce. You said you were worried about all these other companies or the other fishmongers, the big ones, like maybe seafood company, right? The seafood company in Singapore, they're one of the largest one now. So how are they going to get into this business that you're doing? And they're just going to take away your business. So how are you actually strategizing yourself to maybe partner with them? Or are you actually in talks with the Seafood Merchants Association right now to see what kind of commitment or support that they can actually provide to you guys? Okay, that's question one. So maybe you can answer that first, and then I'll go on to my second question next.
Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have like such connections with these big players. For me, I'm trying to pick up those fishmongers that are not really tech savvy in that sense. You know, they want to earn more, but they don't know how to set up their own website or whatnot. So they are willing to join me. So I've gotten merchants like my dad, the stores in UT Market, and I'm looking to get one in Admiralty as well. So it's just speaking to them like, oh, are you willing to join me? You know, in that sense, sell with me, like sell to me, because I will give them the orders and they just prepare the items. I'm still buying at them from their price. While for seafood companies, like the seafood company themselves, they buy direct from the fishery ports, and then they have their own people to prepare it. It's not really working with fishmongers as what I envision it to be. Like for the seafood company, they earn more from this because, as I told you, they buy the cheaper items from the fishery port and then sell it to people at the online price, which is 2 times of what it is at the fishery port, even more. But for me, I'm earning lesser, but I'm giving chances to fishmongers who are not tech savvy and do not know how to bring or digitalize their businesses. So managing it can be tough in this sense because the idea I have in mind now is that when people order from me, I will send a list of the items I want to the fishmonger, and this person prepares it, and I get the delivery rider to get it from this person and deliver it. So earning lesser but giving more opportunities to fishmongers everywhere rather than directly working with fishery ports and big players. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can take this offline. Subsequently, you can reach out to me, add me on WeChat, you know, we can take this privately. But my second question is, let me ask you first, you're going to university, right?
Yes.
What course have you enrolled in? And why do you think it's actually important, since you've already chosen the path to be an entrepreneur and you've got you actually have very, I would even say noble interest, okay, to start this, which is really the fundamentals of entrepreneurship, to change something, to make something better, not just making money, right? You're not motivated by money. You're motivated by a cause which is very personal to help your father and his buddies, okay? So with that in mind, why do you still want to go into university? What, you know, we are all trained to think, oh, university is the correct path. But the truth is, I mean, in our generation, we've heard a lot of stories. The best entrepreneurs are not from universities, right?
Okay,
it makes them, because they will not be, I think they won't be trapped in the academic sense. Okay, so why do you still want to do that? And, you know, if you've already started and you say you're already making decent, I mean, you're not making a loss, okay, which is actually a very, very good step. It's really very good as a new startup, okay? So why do you take it further, push yourself further? I mean, university may be a little bit overrated.
Okay, so university-wise, I am looking to go into business. I haven't thought about which university exactly I want to enroll in yet, but the reason why I want to take business is because, you know, this is running a business, and essentially you still need things like statistics, accounting, knowing how to manage your finance, and these are things that I don't think I'm very good at yet. I can get by it with like free online apps, but I want to learn how to do it properly. So for example, there will be like, you can take a minor in entrepreneurship, but that's not where I'm actually looking at going, even university. I'm hoping to do things like perhaps marketing or analytics, where I can bring myself further. So as mentioned previously, my boss Garrett, who was in NTU, he made use of his business statistics and probability like lessons to create this Excel chart, which can help him like project his estimated number of eggs he will be using in his restaurant per week. So this is where I hope to be able to get to, be able to project a growth, be able to know how to plan ahead rather than just, having these thoughts of I want to do this, I think I can do this. And then I realized that I don't have the capability to do so because I have not learned it, or it's going to be very hard for me to learn it on my own. So that's why I think university will be a good platform for me to go there and learn. Yeah.
Fair enough answer. Okay, I'm going to leave time for other people, but just one last question, or actually not a question. I'm going to leave you a takeaway. Okay, so how do I see? Whatever you mentioned that you feel that you're lacking, okay? I think entrepreneurs, more importantly, have to learn to manage people. That's one, okay? The things that you think you are lacking, even if you go to university and you come out, you are not going to be doing those things yourself, because as a founder, you will have so much more things that you have to be worried about. And instead of sitting down in front of a computer doing your accounting and probability, you need to know how to get people to give you these numbers. That's one. And the second thing that I want to give you a takeaway is opportunity cost. Okay, because this is something actually you could say it's a new idea. You could also say it's not a new idea because it can actually be implemented by certain big players if they see this as an opportunity to change. Okay, so if going to university is going to slow down the growth of your fishmonger business, that's the kind of opportunity cost you are going to lose. And I think you may need to go and really think about it. I mean, I'm not advising you against going into university. I mean, of course, to graduate with your fang mao, with your square head and everything, that's, also a milestone in itself, okay? But yeah, that's just my takeaway. So I'll leave some time for Garrett and the rest of the audience.
Yeah, thanks, Billy, for your sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting question that Billy has asked. I think at a certain point for young entrepreneur, it did strike them at this course path, right? So I think, Lenice, you would have to think about the things that Billy have said, and try to balance out your uni and your business. I think that would be one of the paths that you could take, right? So unfortunately, we are kind of like short of time. So I would say that a lot of you guys, thank you for posing very good questions. We will try to answer them, but because of time constraint, we have to go to the last part of our session, which is the advice. Interesting part. Because we have our two expert panel, Connie and Kiang has vast experience. Connie herself is a lady entrepreneur, same as what Lenice will be trying to emulate. And CK have vast experience in the retail industry, right? A bit similar as what you are doing, selling your services to your customer. So let's invite Connie again to the floor on what kind of advice would you give Lenice for today's session, so that you can take away.
Very simple takeaway. Lenice, you want to be very competitive, you must be very good, which now you're giving a lot more convenience, a lot more precise cutting of the fish, which means you must be very good, you must be very fast, or you must be very cheap. Okay, but of course you cannot have 3 at the same time, but minimum you must have 2 in order to be competitive. Okay, this is the first advice. And for the second advice, you're very talented, and in order to be a very successful entrepreneur, continue the talented. So I will still encourage you to keep learning, keep being educated. I know there's a lot of opportunity cost, but learning is always there. But you must continue to be gutsy. If you have guts, if you have talent, and I say a little bit of luck. I can clearly understand that we don't just use the word luck, but we can create luck. When you are being exposed, when you're going to everywhere, or even coming here to speak, you are actually turning on your luck, or you are attracting luck. So these are the 3 things. So being talented, gutsy, and a little bit of luck, you'll be a very successful entrepreneur. Okay, I'll give it to CK.
Thanks, Connie. My suggestion is, of course, to Lenice, but also to the audience who's listening in as well. I only have two suggestions. One is, I think something that Lenice have demonstrated very well when she answered my question is, and also for a lot of the anecdotal example that she shared with us, I think the number one thing is here is you need to listen to your customers. Okay, we are at the age, where it talks, businesses that are big, they are actually mass produced. It's a factory, right? So they're selling in bulk. The problem is these businesses are catered to the average consumer, right? So it can meet the need of the average consumer. So the NTUCs of the world are good for the average consumer. But unfortunately, such businesses will always be not as good at meeting very specific niche consumer, right? And this consumer might be willing to pay more. So I think, at least you found out some people would like to pay more for the convenience. And if you are able to target this consumer, then that's already creating a competitive advantage over even the big boys, right? So when I say listen to the customer, it means being able to anticipate what the customer wants. Like the fact that you're actually doing a personal delivery, not because, partly because, you don't have people to do delivery, but the fact that you say that you want to do this so that you actually listen to your customer, I think it's a very, very valuable point. Never, ever forget this, right? So even though now you might have 20, 30 customers, you listen to them. When you have 20, 30,000 customers, you must continue to listen to them because their needs changes. And if you don't keep abreast with their needs, or even, I might say, keep ahead of their needs and anticipate their need, then somebody else would, and then you will lose to your competitor. Right? So that's kind of the main advice I want to give you.
Thank you.
Thanks, CK. Lenice, have you got your meeting? Have you cheating already?
I think I really agree with what he said. Listening to your consumers. If I had never listened, I wouldn't have found like this special group of customers, which are actually parents with children. From what I hear from other mentors, initially they're just like, oh, you should target people who buy bulk in weekly or monthly. But I realized that parents with children, they are the best way you can earn money from them, because as parents, you're willing to pay any amount for your children. In that sense, expensive fishes, you have very precise like ways you want it to be done. Every bone removed, cut into very small bits, individually packed. So I definitely agree that it's very important to listen to your customers, be it 10 or 1,000.
Thank you, Lenice. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, CK. Right, we are come to nearly the end, but before that, we need to do a group taking session. So I'd like to plead to you guys to open up your video cam so that we could take a okay, let's see who's the one that has no video. Oh, I saw somebody with a ramen background.
Cordelia has got a ramen background. Hungry. Make me hungry.
I'm hungry looking at that. Hadn't had my dinner. Hang on, are we good to go?
I also haven't had dinner.
Really, let's go. Virtual dinner.
Zoom dinner.
Let's ask
how
all
everybody turn on picture, turn on video cam already. Everybody turn on camera already. Photo taken.
Can you capture something, or do you want me to do it?
I think you do it because mine somehow can only take like 4 pictures at a time. So
okay, I've done it already. Got it. Okay, Garrett, done.
Thanks. Before going off, let me show what's coming up next. Next week, our Young Founder series, series 8, we're going to continue, and we're going to have Jeremy Wayne, co-founder of Udentity. I'll be coming as a speaker. Same time, 7:30 on the 28th.
I don't know
of
about the
May,
rest. Garrett,
next
I'm getting a
Tuesday.
black
So
screen. Are
hopefully,
you? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
is it? Are you guys?
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Right.
It
Too hungry
showed
lah.
up. Mm.
Okay. So see you guys next week. And wonderful audience. Thank you, Lenice, and thank you, Connie and CK.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah, Lenice, reach out to me and then we'll talk privately.
Got it, no problem.
All right. Good luck.
You